The royal convoy glided through the asteroid belt like a silent silver river. Its sleek ships shimmered under distant starlight, each vessel carrying members of the royal family, elite guards, and precious cargo. At the center floated the flagship, larger than the others, crowned with symbols of the royal house. Inside, the alien princess, Lysera, moved with grace and poise, her long blue hair brushing against her shoulders as she checked on the children in her care. The children, twins named Kieran and Lila, were shy and curious. They had been kept under strict guard since birth, never leaving the safety of the convoy. Today, their curiosity had gotten the better of them, and they pressed their small faces against the observation windows, staring in awe at the floating rocks around them. Lysera smiled, gently guiding them back to the center of the ship. "Careful, little ones. The asteroids may look beautiful, but they are not toys." Kieran giggled. "They look like giant stars, Princess." Lila tugged at her sleeve. "Do you think we will see other ships today?" Lysera chuckled softly, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Perhaps. But always remember, the galaxy is full of dangers. That is why we travel together." She had barely finished speaking when the first alarm blared. Red lights flashed across the bridge. A warning tone echoed through the corridors. Lysera's heart tightened. "Princess Lysera, we have unidentified ships approaching fast," shouted Captain Taryn, her chief of security. His voice was sharp, full of authority, but there was an edge of fear in it. Lysera's blue eyes narrowed as she looked through the main viewing window. Dozens of sleek black ships appeared from behind the asteroid field. Their movements were aggressive and precise, cutting through space like predators closing in on prey. "They are raiders," Taryn said grimly. "They know we are carrying high-value targets. This is an ambush." Lysera's mind raced. She had trained for diplomacy, for negotiation, not war. But her instincts told her that words would not save them today. "Evacuate the children to the secure hold immediately. Taryn, prepare the guards for combat." "Yes, Princess," Taryn responded, his voice steady despite the tension. The convoy's engines roared as the ships changed formation, attempting evasive maneuvers. Missiles streaked through space, bright and deadly, exploding against the convoy's shields. One by one, smaller ships were hit. The children's small scout ship was thrown off course, sending them tumbling through the corridor before they were caught by the automated safety rails. Lysera held on to the nearest wall, her heart pounding. She felt fear, but also a fierce determination. She could not let these raiders take the children. Amid the chaos, a sudden explosion rocked the flagship. The floor beneath Lysera cracked, sending sparks flying. She grabbed hold of a support beam just as a piece of the ceiling collapsed. Her breath came fast. Then she saw him. A human warrior. He was different from anyone she had met in the galaxy. Tall, muscular, with piercing green eyes, he moved with calculated precision. Blasters in hand, he was taking down raiders one by one, protecting the escape corridors with skill that seemed almost unnatural. Lysera's instincts told her to trust him, though she knew nothing of him. Without hesitation, she ran toward him, pulling Kieran and Lila along. "Follow me! Stay close!" the human shouted, not even pausing to look at the princess. The trio darted through the wrecked corridors, the sounds of explosions and screams echoing around them. Sparks rained from broken panels and smoke filled the air. They reached a section of the ship that led to the docking bays. Outside, she could see the scout ships under heavy fire, some already destroyed. "Which ship?" Lysera asked, her voice calm despite the fear rising in her chest. "Small one," the human said. "Fast, maneuverable, perfect for what we need. Come on." They reached the damaged docking bay, where a small ship waited, its engines smoking from earlier hits. Lysera glanced at the children. Kieran was wide-eyed, clinging to her sleeve. Lila's small hand was in hers, trembling. Hold on tight, Lysera said, lifting them both into the ship's cabin. She turned to the human, who was already checking the engine systems. I can get us out, but the thrusters are damaged. We'll need to fly carefully through the asteroid field. Lysera nodded. Do what you must. Protect the children. The human worked quickly, repairing the damaged circuits while keeping an eye on the approaching raiders. Lysera assisted where she could, her hands moving deftly despite the chaos. Sparks flew, and the smell of burnt metal filled the air. Finally, the small ship roared to life. The human climbed into the pilot seat. The children strapped safely in behind him. Lysera took the co-pilot seat, her hands steady on the controls. Hold on, he said, his eyes scanning the asteroid field. It's going to be rough. The ship shot forward, dodging debris and blasts from enemy fire. Lysera felt the G-forces push against her as they swerved between massive asteroids. The children screamed in excitement and fear, but she held them close, whispering calming words. The raiders pursued them relentlessly. Laser blasts tore through the rocks around them, some narrowly missing the ship. Lysera marveled at the human's skill, how he seemed to anticipate every movement, every danger. You are remarkable, she said, her voice filled with awe. He glanced at her briefly. Just trying to keep you alive. That's my job. She wanted to ask who he was, where he came from, but there was no time. The raiders were closing in faster. Lysera's mind raced, trying to plan their next move. Then she remembered an old secret passage through the asteroid field, known only to royal convoys. Turn left here, she shouted, pointing to a narrow gap between two massive asteroids. He followed her directions without hesitation. The ship twisted through the tight path, scraping past rocks with sparks flying from the hull. The children held their breath, gripping the seats tightly. Behind them, the raiders followed blindly, their ships larger and slower. One after another, the humans' quick maneuvers sent them crashing into the asteroids. Explosions lit up the dark space, and for a moment, Lysera allowed herself to breathe. We've bought some time, the human said, his voice tense but controlled. We need to reach the outer rim. There's an abandoned station there, temporary shelter. Lysera nodded. She had never trusted anyone so quickly, yet she felt she could rely on him. He had saved them when no one else could, and he showed no fear. The journey continued in tense silence. The twins peeked from behind Lysera, their eyes wide with a mix of fear and fascination. Are they gone? Kieran asked softly. For now, Lysera said, brushing his hair gently. But we must be careful. They will not stop. The scout ship finally approached the coordinates of the hidden station. It was old, partially damaged, but it offered walls, shelter, and cover. Lysera's hands moved over the controls, guiding the ship gently into the docking bay. Once inside, the human quickly shut down the engines and checked the systems. Lysera moved to the children, holding them close. They were safe, at least for the moment. You did well, Lysera said to the human. I did not know humans could be so fearless. He gave a small smile. We do what we must to survive. And you have courage too. You saved the children. Lysera looked at him, a mixture of respect and curiosity in her eyes. She had no idea who he really was, where he came from, or why he was so skilled. But for now, that did not matter. Together, they had survived an impossible attack. Together, they would find a way to keep the children safe. Outside, the wreckage of the convoy glowed faintly under the distant stars. Lysera knew many of her guards had perished, and the raiders were still out there. The galaxy was dangerous, and her life had changed forever. But she had hope. And for the first time, she realized that humans could be more than just allies. They could be heroes. The night passed quietly in the hidden station, but Lysera did not sleep. She watched the stars through a cracked viewport, her mind racing with plans, fears, and questions. The human warrior sat nearby, sharpening a small weapon, silent and focused. She felt a strange sense of trust in him, a feeling she had never known before. Tomorrow, they would face more dangers. But tonight, they had survived. And that survival was the first step toward a future neither she nor the human could yet imagine. The hidden station was quiet, almost eerily so. Its walls were worn and scratched, but for the moment, it was a sanctuary from the raiders who had destroyed the royal convoy. Lysera moved carefully through the corridors, guiding Kiran and Lila by the hands. The children clung to her, still pale from the terror of their escape. "Princess," Kiran whispered, "will they come here?" Lysera knelt to meet his eyes, her blue hair falling around her face. "We don't know, little one, but we will be ready. We are safe here for now, and that is what matters." The human warrior, who introduced himself simply as Rylan, was checking the scout ship systems. His green eyes scanned every panel and readout, his hands moving with the ease of someone who had done this hundreds of times. He ignored the children, but Lysera noticed his silent respect in the way he treated the ship as if it were an extension of himself. "We can't stay long," Rylan said finally. "The raiders will eventually find this place, but we have time to repair the ship, rest, and plan our next move." Lysera nodded. "Thank you for saving us." He shrugged, looking at her with a mixture of seriousness and curiosity. "You saved the children too. We both did what needed to be done." The twins peered curiously at Rylan. "Are you a soldier?" Lila asked, her voice small. "Something like that," he said with a faint smile. "I fight when it matters most." Lysera noticed how calm he remained, even after the attack. It gave her confidence, and she realized that together they were stronger than any single threat. As the children explored the station cautiously, Lysera and Rylan moved to a small control room. She studied the maps of nearby space, searching for a safe route through the asteroid belt. "The raiders will be tracking our energy signatures," Rylan said, pointing to the scanners. "If we leave the station now, we must move quietly and carefully. Any sudden jump could give them our position." Lysera placed a hand on the scanner, her fingers tracing the faint lines of energy. She closed her eyes for a moment. She could sense the energy of the station, the faint trails of the raiders' ships, and the children's nervous pulses. Her species had always been attuned to energy patterns, and now, for the first time, she realized how valuable this skill could be. "Good," Rylan said. "You have a gift. It can help us avoid them." Lysera nodded, her heart beating faster. She felt a strange connection to him, as if their fates were intertwined. Together, they had survived an impossible attack, and together, they could face whatever came next. Over the next few hours, they repaired the scout ship. Sparks flew from broken circuits, and smoke curled from damaged panels. Lysera helped where she could, her hands steady despite the tension. She marveled at Rylan's skill and determination. He worked quickly, efficiently, and without fear. The children watched from a safe corner, curious and fascinated. Lila tugged at Lysera's sleeve. "Princess, can I help?" Lysera smiled. "Not yet, little one. You must rest. The next journey will be dangerous, and you must have your strength." As night, or the station's version of night, fell, the twins finally drifted into sleep. Lysera stood near the viewport, looking out at the asteroid belt. The stars glimmered in the darkness, and she felt a mixture of fear, sadness, and hope. So much had been lost, yet somehow she and the children had survived. Rylan approached silently, leaning against the wall. "You can't save everyone," he said softly. "Sometimes all we can do is protect those in front of us." Lysera turned to him, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "I know, but I cannot let them die if I can help it. Not the children, not anyone I care for." He nodded, his expression unreadable. "Then we'll make sure they survive, together." The next day, they prepared to leave the station. Lysera studied the asteroid map again, her energy-sensing ability guiding them. She pointed out narrow gaps and hidden passages that even the raiders would struggle to navigate. Rylan adjusted the ship's course, trusting her instincts completely. "Hold on tight," he warned. "It's going to get rough." The ship shot forward, weaving between massive asteroids. The twins gripped the seats, their wide eyes reflecting both fear and excitement. Lysera stayed close, calming them with gentle words. "Almost there," she whispered. "Stay calm. We are safe with each other." Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped urgently. "Raiders!" Rylan shouted. "They've tracked us!" Lysera's heart raced. Outside, sleek black ships moved with deadly precision. Rylan twisted the controls, sending their scout ship spiraling through the asteroid field. Laser blasts tore through nearby rocks, some narrowly missing them. Kieran screamed, clutching Lysera's arm. "We can't escape them." "Yes, we can," Lysera said firmly. "Trust me." The ship twisted, spun, and darted through the rocks. Lysera's ability allowed her to sense the raiders' energy patterns, predicting their movements before they acted. She shouted instructions to Rylan, who followed them without hesitation. Together, they outmaneuvered the raiders, leading them into dangerous areas of the asteroid belt. One by one, the enemy ships collided with asteroids or were forced to retreat. The twins watched in awe. "Princess, he's amazing," Lila said. Lysera smiled. "We are both amazing," she said softly, glancing at Rylan. Hours passed as they navigated the belt, avoiding patrols and hidden dangers. The twins grew quieter, exhausted from fear and relief. Lysera allowed herself a moment to reflect. She had never felt so connected to another being. Rylan's calm courage, his skill, his focus. It was unlike anything she had seen in her royal court. Finally, they reached the edge of the belt. Beyond it lay a sector rarely traveled, a place where they could rest and plan. Lysera guided the ship gently toward a small moon orbiting a distant gas giant. Its surface was barren but safe, perfect for hiding until they could determine their next move. The ship landed with a soft thud. Lysera helped the children out, holding their small hands as they stepped onto the rocky surface. The wind from the gas giant's atmosphere stirred, cool and strange against their skin. Rylan checked the ship one last time. "We'll be safe here for a while," he said, "but we need to move again soon. The raiders will not give up easily." Lysera nodded, holding the twins close. "Then we must be ready. I will not let them harm the children." She looked at Rylan. "We make a good team." He gave a small smile. "Yes, that we do." The day passed quietly. Lysera explored the moon's surface, teaching the children to be careful and aware of their surroundings. Rylan set up defenses around the ship, improvising weapons and traps from the wreckage. The children helped in small ways, running messages and carrying supplies, their fear slowly replaced by courage. As night fell, Lysera stood again at the edge of the moon's cliff, looking at the distant stars. The galaxy was vast and full of danger, yet she felt hope. They had survived impossible odds, and together they could face whatever came next. Rylan joined her, silent but watchful. "We can't run forever," he said. "I know," she replied, "but tonight we rest. Tomorrow we fight, not just to survive, but to protect what matters." For the first time in her life, Lysera felt the weight of responsibility not as a burden, but as a challenge she could face with allies she could trust. And perhaps, just perhaps, the human warrior beside her was more than just an ally. He was someone who could change the course of her life, and the lives of those she had sworn to protect. Outside, the moon's surface glimmered in starlight. The wreckage of the convoy was far behind them, and the raiders were still out there, waiting. But Lysera, Rylan, and the children had survived another day. And in the vast, dangerous galaxy, that survival was only the beginning. The hidden moon was quiet, but Lysera knew that silence was temporary. Raiders never gave up easily, especially not when the prize was an alien princess and royal children. She paced the rocky surface, her blue hair catching the dim starlight, her thoughts heavy with responsibility. The children, Kieran and Lila, played nearby, building small forts from stones and rubble, their laughter light but cautious. Rylan moved methodically around the scout ship, checking weapons and reinforcing the hull. His movements were precise, efficient. He paused only when Lysera approached him. "We can't stay here forever," he said, his green eyes scanning the horizon. "They will find us eventually. But while we are here, we must be ready." Lysera nodded. "Then we must prepare. Teach me what you know, Rylan. I cannot protect the children alone." Rylan studied her for a long moment. "You can't fight like me. Humans have trained for this all our lives, but you have something else. Your instincts, your energy sense, it can save lives in ways I cannot. I'll teach you to defend yourself and the children. Together, we are stronger than any raider." Lysera agreed. Over the next hours, Rylan began training her. He taught her how to hold a blaster, how to take cover, how to anticipate an enemy's moves. The first attempts were clumsy. Lysera tripped over her own feet, missed targets, and felt frustrated. But Rylan was patient, correcting her posture, encouraging her when she doubted herself. "You are learning faster than most," he said. "Trust your instincts. That is your greatest weapon." The twins watched from behind a rocky outcrop, wide-eyed and curious. Lila whispered to Kieran, "She's going to fight like a hero." Kieran nodded. "And he's amazing too. Look at how he teaches her." By nightfall, Lysera had grown more confident. She could aim, move quickly, and anticipate danger better than before. Her energy-sensing ability combined with Rylan's tactical guidance made her a formidable presence. The moon's quiet was shattered by an alert from the scout ship's sensors. A small raider scouting party had detected their location. Rylan motioned for silence. "They've found us. Stay calm, stay hidden, and follow my lead." Lysera took a deep breath, holding Kieran and Lila close. The twins' small hands gripped hers tightly. "We will be safe," she whispered. "Trust me." The raiders' ships hovered above the moon's surface, scanning for signs of life. Lysera and Rylan had set up makeshift traps, using rocks and metal debris to create false pathways and obstacles. When the first raider foot soldiers stepped onto the moon, they triggered the traps. Rocks tumbled from above, sending the attackers scrambling for cover. Rylan moved like a shadow, striking swiftly and silently. His blaster disarmed one raider, and his hand-to-hand skills incapacitated another. Lysera watched carefully, using her senses to predict enemy movements. She guided Kieran and Lila behind cover, whispering instructions to keep them safe. "You are doing well," Rylan said quietly, shooting at a raider trying to flank them. Lysera nodded, her heart pounding. She felt the thrill of combat, the fear, and the responsibility all at once. She realized that courage was not the absence of fear, it was the choice to act despite it. The raiders regrouped, realizing that they had underestimated their prey. They moved faster, their energy weapons glowing in the moonlight. Lysera sensed their approach, warning Rylan in time. Together, they outmaneuvered the attackers, forcing them back toward the edge of the moon. The children watched from a distance, their eyes wide with admiration. Kieran whispered, "She's amazing, Princess." Lysera gave him a small smile. "We all have courage inside us, even in fear. Remember that." After the skirmish, Rylan and Lysera took a moment to catch their breath. The twins ran to them, hugging Lysera tightly. "Are we safe now?" Lila asked, her voice trembling slightly. "For now," Lysera said, holding them close. "But we must always be ready. Danger is never far." Rylan surveyed the horizon. "The raiders will return, and they will come with more ships. But we have an advantage now. We know this terrain, and we can use it to our benefit. We can survive until we find a permanent solution." Lysera nodded. Her mind was racing. They needed allies, information, and a plan to stop the raiders from hunting them and the royal children. She had always been a diplomat, used to solving problems with words. Now she understood that sometimes action was necessary, and courage could inspire others in ways words could not. As night fell over the barren moon, Lysera and Rylan sat near a small fire, the twins resting nearby. The cold wind blew, but the warmth of the flames and their shared determination kept them going. "Tell me about your world," Lysera said to Rylan, breaking the silence. He shrugged, looking at the stars. "It's not so different from yours in some ways. We fight for survival, for family, for honor. I learned early that weakness can be deadly. That's why I fight the way I do." Lysera considered his words. "And yet you risked everything to save us. Even without knowing me or the children, you acted." Rylan met her gaze. "Some things are worth protecting, Princess. You, them, life itself. That's all that matters." Lysera felt a strange warmth in her chest. She had always known courage, but this was different. This was human courage, combined with wisdom and action. She realized that trust was not just about words, it was about deeds. Over the next days, they continued their preparations. Lysera trained with Rylan, improving her combat skills. The twins learned to recognize danger, to hide, and to assist in small ways, carrying supplies and watching for signs of movement. Their laughter returned in small doses, a reminder of what they were protecting. One evening, as the twin moons of the gas giant rose in the sky, Lysera sensed a new presence, an unusual energy pattern moving in the distance. She froze, her instincts alert. "Something is coming," she whispered. Rylan looked at her, his expression sharp. "Describe it." "It's not like the raiders," she said slowly. "It feels different, powerful, but not hostile. At least not yet." The two moved to the edge of the cliff, scanning the horizon. In the distance, a ship glimmered in the starlight. Its design was unlike anything Lysera had seen, sleek, elegant, and clearly not raider technology. "Who are they?" Kieran asked, peeking out from behind Lysera. "I don't know," she replied honestly. "But we must be cautious." The mysterious ship landed gently nearby. From it emerged beings clad in silver armor, their presence calm and commanding. Lysera felt no immediate threat, but Rylan kept his hand near his weapon, ready for anything. The beings spoke in a language Lysera did not understand, but one of them raised a device that translated their words. "We mean no harm," the leader said. "We are scouts from a neutral system. We sensed your escape from the raiders and have come to offer assistance, but we can only help if you trust us." Lysera exchanged a glance with Rylan. Trust was not easy, especially after what they had just survived, but she sensed sincerity in the alien scout's energy. "We need help," she said finally. "We are being hunted, and the lives of these children depend on it." The scout nodded. "Then we will guide you, but the path ahead will be dangerous. You must be ready for anything." Lysera looked at Rylan. "Are we ready?" He gave a small smile, his green eyes steady. "We have no choice, but together, we can face it." For the first time since the attack on the royal convoy, Lysera felt a glimmer of hope. They were not alone. Allies existed, courage thrived, and even in the darkest corners of the galaxy, light could still shine. The twins, sensing the change in their protectors, held onto Lysera's hands tightly. "We will be okay, won't we?" Lila asked softly. "Yes," Lysera said firmly. "As long as we trust each other, we will be okay." Outside, the stars glimmered against the vast blackness of space. The raiders were still out there, waiting, but Lysera, Rylan, and the twins had grown stronger. They had learned to fight, to trust, and to survive. And in the heart of the unknown, bonds had been forged, bonds that could withstand any storm. The galaxy was dangerous, but with courage, skill, and trust, they were ready to face whatever came next. The hidden moon had provided shelter for only a short time. Lizera, Rylan, and the twins had grown stronger, but the threat of the raiders loomed ever closer. From the observation points on the moon, Lizera could see faint glimmers of ships moving through the asteroid belt. They were cautious but relentless, and soon, hiding would no longer be enough. "We can't stay here," Rylan said, his voice low but firm. "They are tracking us. They will attack soon, and this place will be destroyed." Lizera nodded, glancing at Kieran and Lila. "Then we must leave. But the path is dangerous, through the asteroid field, past the raider patrols, and into the unknown. Are you ready?" The twins looked frightened but nodded. "We trust you, Princess," Lila said softly. Lysera turned to Rylan. "Can the scout ship make it?" He studied the ship carefully. "It will be tight. We'll need every trick we know. The asteroids are dense, and the raiders are fast, but it's possible." Hours later, the scout ship was ready. Supplies were packed. Traps were left behind to slow any pursuers, and the twins were secured inside. Lysera took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. Protecting the children was her priority, but she also needed to trust Rylan completely. He had already saved their lives once. She hoped he could do it again. "Hold on tight," Rylan said, climbing into the pilot seat. "It's going to be rough." The ship launched into space, slipping past the moon's surface and into the asteroid field. Rocks and debris flew past, some massive enough to destroy the small vessel if they collided. Lysera guided the children, keeping them calm, while Rylan piloted with extraordinary precision. "Left! Sharp turn!" Lysera shouted, sensing the path through the chaos. Rylan followed her instructions without hesitation. "Good eye, Princess! Keep looking!" The twins clutched their seats as the ship twisted and spun, narrowly avoiding collisions. Sparks flew from minor scrapes, and the hull groaned under the pressure, but Rylan's skill kept them alive. Behind them, the raiders had detected their movement. Black ships emerged from behind asteroids, firing energy blasts that lit up the darkness of space. Rylan twisted and dodged, returning fire when necessary. Lysera leaned over the console, tracking the raiders' energy signatures. "3 ships on the left. 2 are closing fast." Rylan adjusted the thrusters. "I see them. Hang on." He swerved sharply, sending the nearest raiders crashing into a large asteroid. Explosions lit up the void, and the other ships hesitated, regrouping to attack again. The children's small voices called out in fear. "Princess." "Are they gone?" Kieran asked. "For now," Lysera said firmly, "but we must keep moving." Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by the sounds of the ship's engines and the distant blasts of raider weapons. Lysera guided Rylan through narrow passages, asteroids looming on all sides. Her energy-sensing ability allowed her to predict movements and avoid ambushes. Finally, they reached the coordinates of an abandoned jump gate. It was old, partially damaged, but still functional. Beyond it lay a safe system where they could rest and plan. "The gate is our only way out," Rylan said. "But it's heavily guarded. We need a diversion." Lysera thought quickly. "I can create one. My energy can trigger a signal to mislead them. It won't last long, but it might give you a chance to reach the gate safely." Rylan nodded. "Do it. We'll follow your lead." Lysera focused, letting her energy ripple outward in a controlled burst. It glowed briefly, like a beacon in the darkness, drawing the raiders' attention. They veered toward the signal, chasing the illusion of the ship. "Go now!" Lysera shouted. Rylan pushed the thrusters to their limits. The scout ship shot forward, dodging debris and enemy fire. The twins screamed and held on tightly, but Lysera's presence reassured them. She stayed close, keeping them calm with gentle words. The raiders quickly realized the trick, but it was too late. The ship was already at the jump gate. Rylan initiated the sequence, and a bright light enveloped them. The universe blurred, stars streaking past as the jump drive carried them to safety. When the light faded, they were in an uncharted system. The stars were unfamiliar, and a small planet loomed below. Rylan landed the scout ship in a hidden valley, shielding them from detection. Lysera helped the children out, their faces pale but relieved. "We made it," she whispered. Kieran hugged her tightly. "We're alive because of you, Princess." Lila ran to Rylan. "And you saved us again." Rylan smiled faintly. "We saved each other." Lysera looked at him, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. They had survived impossible odds, and yet they were not broken. The bond between them was stronger than ever, built on trust, courage, and shared danger. The twins explored the valley cautiously, gathering small stones and examining alien plants. Lysera watched them, her heart swelling with both relief and responsibility. She knew this moment of calm would not last forever, but it was precious. Rylan moved to the scout ship, checking the systems once more. "We'll need to repair some components before we can travel again, but we are safe for now." Lysera approached him. "I am glad you are here, Rylan. I would have lost the children without you." He shook his head. "No, we both did what we had to. That's why we survived. And you have grown stronger. Your courage is remarkable." She smiled softly. "I am learning, because I must, and because I have no choice." As night fell in the uncharted system, the group settled near the valley. A small fire burned, casting shadows on the rocky terrain. The twins curled up beside Lysera while Rylan kept watch. The stars glimmered above, quiet and serene, a stark contrast to the chaos they had escaped. Suddenly, Lysera felt a shift in the energy around them. Her instincts screamed of danger. Something was approaching. She tensed, scanning the valley and the skies. Rylan noticed her movement. "What is it?" "Something different," Lysera said. "It's not like the raiders, powerful but not immediately hostile. Still, we must be cautious." A ship emerged from the darkness, sleek and silver. Its energy signature was strong but controlled. Lysera's heart raced. She could sense intelligence behind it, awareness and calculation. The ship landed gently nearby. From it came beings clad in silver armor, their movements graceful and precise. Lysera and Rylan raised their weapons, but the figures made no threatening move. One of the beings raised a device, translating their words. "We mean no harm. We have tracked your escape and wish to offer assistance. You are being pursued by dangerous enemies, and you cannot survive alone." Lysera exchanged a glance with Rylan. "How do we know we can trust you?" The being's eyes glowed faintly. "We have no interest in your conflicts beyond ensuring survival. Our goal is balance, not conquest. You must decide quickly, for danger is near." Lysera studied them, sensing their sincerity. She could feel no deception, only certainty and purpose. Turning to Rylan, she said, "We take their help. We cannot fight the raiders alone forever." He nodded. "Agreed, but we must remain cautious." The twins watched in awe as the newcomers approached. "Princess, who are they?" Kieran whispered. "I do not know yet," Lysera admitted, "but they may be the allies we need." The night passed quietly, for once. Lysera, Rylan, and the twins prepared for what lay ahead, knowing the raiders would continue their hunt. But with new allies, skill, and courage, they had hope. And in the heart of the galaxy, that hope was a weapon stronger than any blaster. The galaxy was still dangerous, and challenges awaited. But Lysera understood something important. With trust, skill, and bravery, even the most impossible escape could become a chance to fight back, and perhaps to win. The hidden valley glowed under the light of the gas giant and its twin moons. Lysera, Rylan, and the twins had survived impossible odds, but the raiders were still out there, hunting relentlessly. They could not stay hidden forever. Lysera stood near the scout ship, her eyes scanning the horizon. We need a plan. The raiders will return, and they will be stronger this time. They know we escaped once, but they will not forgive it. Rylan adjusted his weapon, his green eyes serious. We need to hit them before they strike us again. If we let them gather more forces, the children will never be safe. We have allies now, and we can use this. The alien scouts who had arrived the night before stepped forward. Their leader, a tall being with silver armor and calm presence, bowed slightly. We can provide ships, reinforcements, and knowledge of the asteroid routes. You have survived because you acted wisely and quickly. Now the next step is to end this chase. Lysera nodded. Then we must act. For the children, for the treaty, for peace. The twins watched curiously, their small faces serious. Princess, Kieran said softly, are we going to fight them? Yes, Lysera replied, kneeling to meet his gaze. But we fight to protect, not to destroy. Courage does not mean hurting others. It means standing up for what is right. Rylan smiled faintly. And you have more courage than most people I've met. Don't forget that. Over the next hours, they prepared. Rylan trained Lysera in advanced combat, blending her energy-sensing abilities with tactical maneuvers. The twins learned basic safety measures and how to assist in small ways, like carrying supplies and observing enemy movements from a distance. Finally, it was time. The alien scouts provided several small ships, armed with advanced energy shields and weapons. Lysera climbed into the lead ship with Rylan at her side, the twins safely secured in a reinforced craft behind them. Stay close, Lysera said, her voice firm. Follow our lead and do not panic. The convoy of Allied ships launched into space. Ahead, the raiders' fleet was visible. Larger and more organized than before. They had regrouped, ready to crush anyone who stood against them. Rylan gripped the controls. They're stronger this time, but we have strategy, knowledge, and courage. That counts for more than numbers. Lysera nodded, her blue hair catching the starlight. Then we fight smart, and we protect those we care for. The raiders attacked first, blasting energy weapons that lit up the darkness. Lysera and Rylan maneuvered their ship with skill, weaving through asteroids and dodging fire. The twins' ship stayed close, guided by the alien scouts. Lysera focused, sensing the raiders' energy patterns. Two on the left. They're flanking. Rylan twisted the controls, firing back while avoiding collisions. Got it. Keep moving. The alien scouts struck from behind, hitting raiders with precision strikes that forced their fleet into disarray. Lysera directed the movement of her small squad, combining instinct and strategy. Each move she made saved lives and protected the children. The battle was intense. Blasts tore through space, ships spun and collided, and debris floated in the void like deadly stars. But Lysera, Rylan, and their allies kept moving with purpose. Every decision counted. Every second mattered. At a critical moment, the raiders attempted a surprise maneuver, sending their fastest ships around the side to trap the convoy. Lysera sensed it before it happened. Rylan, sharp right! We're being surrounded! He followed her lead, twisting the ship with precision. The raiders' trap failed, and several of their ships collided with asteroids. Lysera's calm in the storm inspired others, giving the allies courage to fight harder. The twins watched from their ship, gripping the safety harnesses. Kieran whispered, "They're amazing, Princess." Lysera smiled faintly. "So are you, for staying brave." The raiders realized their forces were breaking. They attempted a retreat, but Lysera was not finished. Using her energy-sensing ability, she detected the remaining raiders' weak points. "Concentrate fire on their engines. We can stop them from chasing anyone ever again." The Allied ship struck with precision, disabling the raiders' engines and forcing the fleet into retreat. One by one, the raiders fled, disappearing into the depths of space. The convoy was victorious. When the battle ended, silence returned to the galaxy. The stars were calm, and the wreckage of raider ships floated quietly in the void. Lysera exhaled, her body trembling from exhaustion. Rylan placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did it," he said quietly. "We did it." Lysera looked at him, feeling a mix of relief and gratitude. "We protected them. The children are safe. That is what matters most." The twins were finally allowed to join her on the bridge. Kieran hugged her tightly. "Thank you, Princess. You saved us." Lila ran to Rylan. "And you too. You're our hero." Rylan gave a small smile, shaking his head. "We all did it together." With the raiders gone, the group had a moment to breathe. Lysera looked out at the stars, thinking about the royal convoy, the lives lost, and the battles they had survived. The galaxy was dangerous, but courage, trust, and determination could change the tide of any conflict. The alien scouts approached. "The immediate threat is over," their leader said, "but you must remain cautious. There are other dangers, other forces in the galaxy. You will need allies, wisdom, and strength for what lies ahead." Lysera nodded. "Then we will prepare. We cannot stop running forever, but we can protect those we care about, and we can fight when necessary." Rylan glanced at her. "We make a good team." "Yes," she said softly. "Stronger than I ever imagined. You, me, the children, together we are a force to be reckoned with." The twins, sensing the weight of her words, stood close. Kieran whispered, "We will be safe now, won't we?" "Yes," Lysera said firmly. "As long as we trust each other, we will always be safe." The scout ships traveled to a nearby system, a hidden colony where they could rest and plan. Lysera met with the local leaders, explaining the importance of protecting the royal children and the need for alliances to prevent raiders from spreading terror. The leaders agreed, impressed by her courage and by Rylan's skill. In the quiet moments, Lysera walked beside Rylan. "You risked everything for us," she said. "I owe you more than I can ever say." He shrugged, a faint smile on his face. "I did what I had to. You and the children deserved it. And you taught me something too. Courage isn't just about fighting. It's about protecting, trusting, and never giving up." Lysera's eyes glimmered. "Then we have both learned something valuable. Perhaps the galaxy is not as dark as it seems." The children played nearby, laughing for the first time since the convoy was attacked. Their voices were a reminder of what they had fought to protect, and a symbol of hope for the future. Lysera stood on a cliff overlooking the valley, feeling the weight of responsibility and the promise of new beginnings. The raiders were defeated, at least for now, and allies had been found. Trust had been built, courage had been proven, and bonds had formed that could withstand any threat. Rylan stood beside her, silent but unwavering. She realized that together they could face anything the galaxy threw at them. They had survived ambush, escape, and battle, and now they were stronger than ever. The stars shimmered above, calm and endless. Lysera smiled faintly, feeling hope for the first time in a long while. The children were safe, allies were loyal, and the future, though uncertain, was theirs to shape. In the vast, dangerous galaxy, the alien princess, the human warrior, and the royal children had survived against all odds. They had proven that courage, trust, and unity could overcome even the greatest threats. And with their combined strength, they would face the challenges ahead. Together. The story of the destroyed convoy had ended in tragedy and fear, but the story of survival, courage, and new alliances had just begun. And in that story, hope burned brighter than any star.